to go for what should be a cracking match between two of the finest break builders the game has ever seen. Junhui is going to get us underway.
Точніше, мається вихід в четвертьфінальну стадію.
The most recent
Також у четвертому раунді грає Барі Хавкінс.
earlier this year in the World Grand Prix for the top 32 on the one-year list. That was a comfortable win for Mark Williams, 4-0 in this same best-of-7 frame format. Ding's most recent victory over Williams was back in 2016, which is the only other time they played in the last 7 years, just those two meetings. And that was a quarter-final at the World Championship, which Ding won resoundingly, 13-3. So they've only played twice since that meeting at the Crucible, including that quarter-final. So this meeting certainly overdue, you would think. They've avoided each other for a few seasons in between. Williams is here courtesy of victories over Pen Yi Song, Stephen Maguire, and last evening Gary Wilson, who of course he beat for this title 2 years ago. So Ding, after Williams missed the long red, has the first opportunity. He started off with victory over Luca Bracel. Remember, this is a random draw, so seeding ranking is not relevant in this tournament. You can draw anyone, and that's why we've had big hitters facing off against one another in the early stages. It was certainly the case in round one with Ding coming through against Bracel. It was quite a scrappy match, actually. Neither player were at their best. Bracel was 3-0 down, but Ding was able to have the last word in the deciding frame. He then beat Lu Hongyu by the same score, and Julian Leclerc, the Belgian player who, of course, was runner-up in the shootout last season to Chris Wakeland. That was a 4-0 win, so he comes into this match off a resounding victory. He's already matched his best ever performance in the British Open, made the last 16 back in 2004. Nothing better than that for Ding in this particular event. Looking to break new ground tonight.
70.
His form has been patchy. Of course, last season he made another UK Championship final and looked on his way to winning it when he led 6-1 against Mark Allen. But of course, Allen turned it around. Ended up winning 10-7. And Ding has actually only won 3 ranking titles in the last 9 years. He has a very healthy tally of 14 for his career overall, but success in more recent years has been sporadic, so he's still searching for some of that old confidence and consistency. Of course, he's a former world finalist. He's won the Masters. He's won 3 UK championships. He's had a wonderful career. He's also been a trailblazer for Chinese snooker, and we see the strength in depth now of the game in Asia, the quality of the players coming through. And this man has a lot to do with that, because he has been an idol to all of them. And a support as well. Of course, he has his own academy in Sheffield, where a lot of his compatriots practice. And when it comes to break building, well, he is among the very best we've ever seen. His cue ball control, when he's playing well, is immaculate.
$30. 32.
Nice little recovery shot on the blue there.
37.
He's now made 619 career centuries, Junhui. Only 28 last season.
38.
That's also very well cued, missable for sure, but dropped it in nicely. I mentioned that we were one match shy this evening, and that's because it's only recently that Fan Zhengyi has managed to see off Rod Lawler by 4 frames to 2. So it's going to be a busy passage of play for Fan, because he'll be back on the table in due course against Ma Hailong, the world amateur champion this year.
50.
Half of the players involved this evening were playing their third round matches earlier today.
51.
Both Ding and Williams came through their respective round of 32s yesterday.
$58. 59.
This is a very confident start though from Ding Junhui. Mark Williams went for a long red, rattled it, left one, and it looks likely to cost him the frame.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
$66.
Well, a 66-point lead, but as you can see, nothing doing there for Ding positionally, so it's end of break. And there's still 75 available to Mark Williams.
Junhui 66.
A very good break, but frustration that he wasn't able to convert it into a frame-winning one. And Mark Williams this time does find the long pot, so could there be a twist in this opening frame? Williams, of course, was champion in this event 2 years ago when the tournament was revived, beat Gary Wilson in the final. And prior to that, lifted the trophy back in 1997 when he beat Stephen Hendry 9-3 when the tournament was staged in Plymouth. So he's got a fine British Open pedigree. The most recent of his ranking titles, all 24 of them, came with this British Open success a couple of years ago. So it's been a while since Williams has lifted a trophy. He's come close a few times since then, not least, of course, the Masters last season when he lost to Judd Trump in a tight final.
3.
If he could somehow conjure clearance, a steal in this opening frame. That would be a big early blow to strike. I wouldn't put it past him. He's done it many times before. Such a cool customer.
$60. 70. $24.
Oh, goodness. Just when it was looking like Williams was becoming the favourite to win the frame, the red eludes him, and that is a big let-off for Junhui. It's just undercut it. Graham Dott getting a bird's-eye view. And that is surely now the frame for Ding, so that'll be a relief to the 3 times UK champion. It was looking good for Williams there for a steal, and he knows that's an opportunity missed to score an early psychological blow.
Так, Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
$21. Foul. Junhui 21.
The in-off is irrelevant. Junhui made 66, ran out of position. Mark Williams knocked in a good red and was threatening to steal that frame, but he undercut the penultimate red, and Ding gratefully took advantage of the reprieve. And so it's the 3 times UK champion who leads 1-0. So just a reminder, there are 3 other matches ongoing in this first half of the 4th evening session here in Cheltenham, and on table 2 right now, an intriguing matchup between Graham Dott, who on his day is still a top player, even though he's a little more consistent, or inconsistent I should say, than he's been in the past, up against the former shootout champion Hossein Vafai. But such a terrific competitor, Graham Dott. Really good player to watch. Always gives it everything on the table, goes for his shots, likes to attack the balls, and he's got himself within 4 frames of a place in the quarterfinals, so that's going to be interesting. He's Got the first opportunity in the second frame. As you can see, Vafai's already won the opener in pretty quick time. Break of 106 from Vafai in the opening frame, so a great start from him, and Dot looking to respond straight away.
Next one. Thank you. The second frame. Mark Williams.
An eventful opening frame. Junhui knocking in a break of 66, but running out of position just before he clinched the frame. Mark Williams had the chance for a steal, but missed the penultimate red to the right corner and left it right over the pocket. So Junhui mopping up most of the remaining balls for 1-0 in this their 15th major meeting. Ding leading the head-to-head 9 victories to 5. Although, as mentioned, they've only played once since the last time Ding beat Williams, which was the 2016 World Championship quarter-final. And that was a victory for Mark Williams. It was last season's World Grand Prix. Big crowd in here once again. That is magnificent. That is a superb pot from Ding. Could have done with the cue ball just bouncing another inch or so. I'm sure he can pot it from there. But it was a great bit of cueing. Shows that his game is certainly intact.
Bramble.
Playing the safety off the brown.
Junhui won.
Last season, Mark Williams' ranking performances included a semi-final appearance at the European Masters, quarter-finals.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком
English and Northern Ireland
83-0
Opens.
і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
And of course, the English Open is coming up next week at the Brentwood Centre. Missed that by quite a margin, and he's had a major result having done so. Hiding the cue ball behind the blue. Bit of luck there for the Welsh wizard. Williams will be turning 49 in the spring of next year. Of course, he became the oldest player to make a professional maximum break at the English Open last year when he was 47. What a career he's had. Still sits in 5th place in the all-time list of ranking event winners with his tally of 24 Williams. He's one in front of Judd Trump and Neil Robertson. Ding is in 9th spot with his tally of 14.
Thank Junhui 4.
William Martial, our referee this evening. Kevin Dabrowski will be assisting him if required as marker.
Can we check, please?
And right on cue, I think Kevin is going to be consulted about the exact position of the cue ball there, just to make doubly sure it's correct, and it is,
Thank you.
as Kevin just said there, spot on. So take 2, Williams. Of course, if he misses this time, then there are consequences. You can see reds, and he has missed by a margin.
Foul and a miss. Thank Junhui 4.
So he's going to be warned, because he can see those reds on the left-hand side of the table from where the cue ball is. Of course, he doesn't want to play those, because there's much greater risk attached. But if he doesn't hit one this time, he'll forfeit the frame.
Yeah. If I have to call a miss again, you lose the frame.
He doesn't want to hear it, but he knows anyway. He's got to hit a red this time, otherwise it's 2-0 ding. Wow, how has that not dropped? Incredible. We've been saying all week that these corner pockets are pretty harsh. It looked for all the world as though he'd knocked this in. And so often you see that when a player is at the point of no return after a couple of fouls and they've been warned that they'll forfeit the frame. They actually end up knocking one in, and Williams very nearly did there. Instead, he's left an unmissable one for ding. And he's played that in controlled fashion, because although the pot was unmissable, sometimes position off a pot like that is tricky, but he's done well to get the cue ball back up the table, top side of the blue.
Так, і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком
He's looking sharp, Ding.
73-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком
In the early
1.
stages of this match, he comes into this match knowing that he's got a good record against Mark Williams, albeit that it is 7 years since he last beat him. He actually won 7 matches in a row against Williams from the 2011 Masters, which he went on to win in the first round, 6-4, all the way through to that quarter-final at the Crucible in 2016. So, having lost the first 4 times he played Williams, he then won the next 7. The overall head-to-head is 9-5 in his favour.
Twenty-one. $27. 28. 34. $35.
Tom Ford has the opening frame on table 4 against Scott Donaldson. Ford had made the final of the German Masters last season, losing the title match to Ali Carter, who's playing Zhao Guodong in the round of 16 tonight. After that extremely scrappy victory last night against a completely out of sorts Ryan Day, who of course saw his title defence ended after his victory in the final last season against Mark Allen.
42.
Still 1-0 Hossein Vafai over Graham Dott with that century in the opening frame, but Dott's looking good to make it 1 each. Currently 65 points to the good, and as you can see at the table, on table 2, Dean just about squeezing that one into the pocket off the jaw. How close was Mark Williams to knocking that red in when he was correctly informed by Olivier Martil he had to hit one, having missed the first 2 times. And that could make a giant difference in this frame. He's already 58 behind Williams.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
50.
Not the best shot from Ding by any means. He's in no man's land positionally there. Presumably he was playing for the pink, but he's overcooked it. He has the brown into the yellow pocket, but he's pretty straight on that. Difficult to do much with the cue ball. Once again, on the cusp of being able to close out the frame with still a few balls to pot, just as he was in the first frame when he was 66 in front, lost position. He's done his best to draw the cue ball back, but it wasn't ideal, and he's not nicely on a red. As you can see, he still needs a red and a colour of highish value to clinch the frame, barring snookers. Oh, that's a terrific pot. It really is. He's looking sharp for sure, bar that positional error just now. What an excellent retrieving red that was, and now just the blue will do. He'd like another red to make sure. There's 67 remaining, so if this red goes in, 68 in front with only 59 left, Williams would need 3 snookers. And I suspect wouldn't come back to the table.
61.
So, Ding Junhui making the perfect start here. Williams has already got things to think about. In these short matches, you don't have a lot of time to recover if your opponent gets off to a flying start, as Ding has. Already the next frame feeling like a must-win for Williams.
67. $68.
And he is cueing beautifully. Opportunity here for century number 620. Will be just his second this season. Of course, this is only the 3rd ranking event of the new campaign.
75. 76. $82. $83.
Perfectly played. He has forensic cue ball control when he's playing well.
91.
Something of a mystery, really, why his form has been as in and out as it has been in recent seasons. At one stage he was well out of the top 16, such was his
96.
slump in form. He's got himself back inside the 16, obviously greatly aided by that run to the UK final last season, where there's a lot of prize money at stake and therefore points as well. What he would love, though, is another trophy, because he hasn't won a ranking event title since the 2019 UK Championship.
101.
That's a long time for a player of Ding's class, but that is a superb century.
105.
And ultimately, the snooker that Williams found himself in, well, it wasn't technically a snooker because he could see reds, and that's why he was warned, but he was trying to play out of the problem he faced as though he was snookered, and when he was forced to play a different shot, he left a red over the right corner pocket, and Junhui has cleared the table. What a start from him. 66 in the first frame, a 620th career century in the second, and the three-time back in early in the third frame. Made a break of 53 in helping him to level the match at one each, but Vafai looking to edge in front again over on table 2. Dong has taken the opening frame against Ali Carter, and it's still 1-0 Tom Ford against Scott Donaldson. The fourth evening here at the Kazoo British Open. There's Hossein Vafai looking to build another sizable break after he took the opening frame against Graham Dott. With a century, Dott responding with a 50-plus break of his own to level up proceedings. And as you can see, Vafai has moved already into a strong position in that third frame, 58 in front. Ali Carter up against Xiao Guodong. It really was a very scrappy affair last night, quite late at night, finished around 20 to midnight between Carter and Ryan Day, the defending champion. Ryan Day, who was woefully out of form. Carter did enough to get through 4-2, but as you can see, he's lost the opening frame to Xiao Guodong. And here's Tom Ford, runner-up to Carter at the German Masters last season in action against Scott Donaldson on table 4. We'll keep you up to date with all of the scores as the evening unfolds. Ding breaking off in frame 3. What a start it's been from him. 66 in the first frame, 123 clearance in the second. Mark Williams hasn't had much of a look in yet. Just a reminder that by the end of this evening's play, we will know the quarter-final lineup. The 8 players left standing in their bid to lift the £100,000 first prize on Sunday. Williams missing that red by a margin, and that's why other balls moved. Never a good sign, that. When you go for a long one and you end up cannoning into other balls, it normally means something's gone wrong. This is a big shot. Always looked just a smidgen wide. If that had gone in, Ding could have been in business again there. It wasn't easy. Cueing from close to the side cushion and just pushed it to the far jaw, and that's enough on these tables for them to stay out. So, an opportunity for Williams to get his cue arm going.
Six. Seven.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Straightforward. Using the spider is never fun. Quite a thin cut on this black. Nicely controlled. Very good shot from Williams. But what is he on? If anything, doesn't look great at first viewing.
40.
I can tell you that the quarter-final draw has been made. So whoever wins this match will play either Ma Hailong or Fan Zhengyi in the quarter-finals tomorrow. The second match of the evening here on Table 1 features Dave Gilbert and Mark Selby. And the winner of that will play the Jack Lazowski or former British Open champion Fergal O'Brien. As Williams finds a plant to keep the break going. The winner of the Tom Ford Scott Donaldson match underway this evening will play either Ali Carter or Zhao Guodong. And it's either Barry Hawkins or He Guijiang against either Graham Dott or Hussein Vafai. So that's your quarter-final draw. All of those quarter-finals, of course, being played tomorrow in 2 sessions. Best of 9 frames to go through to Saturday's semi-finals, which are best of 11 frames.
Three. 28. Mark Williams, 28.
Disappointment for Mark Williams that the break ended as early as that, but a good safety to finish with. It's not been snookered. Never impossible to get out of a best-of-7 frame match, even when you're 3-0 down, but clearly far from ideal. And the way Ding is queuing, it would be a very tall order for Williams to win 4 in a row, so this is a big frame for him. Quite get that safety right. Williams obviously looking to hide the cue ball again behind those colours. But he's left Ding an opportunity here. If he can knock this long red in, could be in business again. Already knocked in one cracking long red tonight. And there is another one. He's just hit it a little thick, and that's why the cue ball hasn't bounced as much as he would have liked it to. Had that gone in cleanly, he would have been nicely on the black, but because it wriggled in, that meant the cue ball didn't travel as far as it would otherwise have done, and that means he's out of position. And those are the very fine margins.
Junhui 1.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
It's close to dropping. And that would have made a big difference. Ding, ball in hand, would have had a much easier shot in his next pot than this one. Well over the leather of the pocket. Certainly not holding back this evening and going for his shots, but that was very, very difficult. Table not ideal at the moment insofar as both the black and the pink are at the wrong end of the table for break building. The red goes in, but Williams couldn't do a lot with the cue ball.
Blue ball. Green ball.
Green nominated.
Green swap.
It's worked out quite nicely for Ding. I'm not sure whether Williams can just get through to the edge of this red, though. Whether he is actually snookered.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Martin having a good old look in case the cue ball needs replacing here. Williams taking his time, and no wonder. This is a pretty critical juncture of the match for him. He knows he can't afford to go 3-0 behind. He's got a modest lead, but no more than that. Ding gets in next. That could quickly evaporate. The line was perfect. It was just a little weighty. Still a good shot from Williams. Hossein Vafai did take the third frame against Graham Dott, so he's back in front at 2 frames to 1. Still Zhao Guodong 1, Ali Carter 0. Table 3. Tom Ford has raced into a 3-0 lead over Scott Donaldson. As Williams gets back in. And he's on the pink. So this is an opportunity for Williams to halve the deficit. Zhao Guodong has just gone 2-0 up on Ali Carter. Zhao, who made some history when he appeared in an all-Chinese ranking event final against Ding Junhui, the first time that had ever happened, 2 Chinese players contesting a ranking final. It was in the season that Ding won 5 ranking titles in a single season. At the time, he was only the 2nd player after Stephen Hendry to achieve that.
8.
Так, Ідін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Well, he was up very quickly there, Williams, but in a positive way. He knew that that was going in, and he was right.
40.
Cue ball covering the pink spot, so it goes on the black spot.
15.
Well, that suits Williams and his bid to close the gap to a single frame and get himself on the board in this round of 16 match. Tom Ford has made breaks of 55, 86 and 73 to lead Scott Donaldson 3-0. Winner of that to play the winner of the Ali Carter Zhao Guodong match in the quarterfinals tomorrow. Oh, Williams has missed the pink. Goodness me, and there's still 67 on the table, so he's not been able to kill the frame off there. Ding 50 behind. Shake of the head from Williams. I think the feeling last evening certainly was that the conditions were quite heavy on the table. The cloth quite sluggish, which is obviously unusual in this day and age. Normally these superfine cloths are lightning fast, and maybe that affected the players, not least in the Carter Day match, which was a very scrappy affair for the most part. A lot of balls missed. And positional play not A1 as it would normally be. A couple of times we've seen
8
players this evening not get prime position, but Ding undoubtedly looking the stronger of the two at the moment. If he could win this frame, well, he really would be in the box seat. Got plenty to do to make that happen, but he's at the table with a chance to at least reduce the deficit.
40.
Hossein Vafai made a second century of the evening to move 2-1 up on Graham Dott, by the way. 120 to go with his 106 in the first frame.
Junhui
So
50.
after Mark Williams missed a pink when he was looking to close the frame out, Ding has done the same. .45 the difference, 43 left, so Williams only needs one more red. So, Ding Junhui needs a snooker.
Mark Williams.
Так, і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Knocked in a couple of those this evening quite beautifully. This has got to go though if he's to stay in the frame. And he's overcut it, so that is the end of the frame. Ding concedes, and Mark Williams, without producing any fireworks, has managed to get himself on the scoreboard and halve the deficit in the process. Ding Junhui leading now by 2 frames to 1. 4 is the target for a place in the quarterfinals. Let's now pivot to table 4, where it's been all one-way traffic up until this 4th frame. Tom Ford with those 3 sizable breaks I mentioned to lead Scott Donaldson 3-0, but as you can see, Donaldson now at the table with a very decent chance, given the state of it, to at least extend that match into a 5th frame. Donaldson has had some physical issues in recent times. He had a negative reaction to a COVID vaccination, which left him with a tremor, which of course is very debilitating for a snooker player when you've got to keep things absolutely still on the shot, etc. So that clearly hasn't helped his cause or his confidence, but he is a very capable player. I remember him beating Mark Selby at the UK Championship a few seasons ago. He's had other notable wins. He's won the Championship League as well. Got a lot to do to get back into that match. Junhui 2, Mark Williams 1 in this their 15th meeting. Ding has won 9 of the previous 14, although you have to go back to the World Championship quarterfinals in 2016 for his most recent win. And that was about as emphatic as it gets at the Crucible. He won with a session to spare, 13-3. Williams has won their only meeting since then, and that was last season. Maurice Hossein for 5. He's already knocked in 2 centuries, but Graham Dodd has hit back again to level the match, as you can see, 2 frames all.
Thank you, frame 4. Mark Williams.
So Mark Williams back in the picture then, having won that third frame. Breaking off in frame 4, 2-1 adrift. Just a reminder, coming up after this match as Williams flashes into the blue, full ball off the break. It'll be Mark Selby against Dave Gilbert. They're very good friends off the table. They practice together. Goodness me. Two shots that both players will want to forget. Williams with the poor break-off, but Ding catching the middle pocket jaw.
Thank you.
And that mistake could be the more costly one. He's left Williams bang in here.
Так, Ідін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Lee Carter has just made a century break, so he's going to close the gap to 2-1 on Zhao Guodong on table 3.
$36. Williams, 37.
Williams has to make do with 37 then. He would have expected to get that one, but these corner pockets, when you use pace, have been extremely unforgiving. You've got to get it bang on, otherwise the ball tends to stay out. We've seen a lot of that this week. mean, from the angle we were looking at there, it didn't look as though there was space for Ding to get through to that red, and I think that was actually a fluke in the end. He held his hand up in apology because he seemed to catch the other red first, but somehow managed to pop the red nonetheless.
Eight. Nine.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
50. Sixteen. 22. 23.
I can tell you that Scott Donaldson won the fourth frame against Tom Ford to close the gap to 3-1 and was back in early in the fifth frame.
Thirty. 30.
For the twist, Ding breaks down on 30. Not easy. Finish cut. Caught it too thick. So just 7 points between them. Another big frame this, the difference between parity for Williams. He's not quite got going this evening in the way he'd like. Or a 3-1 lead for Ding to put him a frame away from his first British Open quarter-final. Williams, of course, is going for a hat-trick of British Open titles this week. Having won in 1997 and then once again 2 years ago.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Junhui 1.
Once again, Ding undercutting an attempted pot, so still 6 points adrift. This frame very much still in the balance. Getting close to it, really. Give Williams this chance.
1.8. 9. 16. 17.
30 the lead, so this red and a pink or a black would suffice to leave Ding needing a snooker. Williams doing it in bits and pieces at the moment, but he's such a great match player. Even when he's not at his fluent best in terms of the break building stakes, he's very capable of winning these sorts of fairly scrappy, bitty sorts of frames.
25.
He's surely going to win this one now, barring snookers anyway. This is frame ball. Didn't quite make the cannon. Ding will obviously play on. It is just the one snooker.
31. Not brilliant. 31.
So Ding needing a snooker to avoid losing his lead altogether.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Williams lucky to kill this frame off. If the red goes in, it's over, and it's 2 each. But as it stands, Ding still only needs the one snooker. Now then, that has got Mark Williams in a pickle. And this frame may have some legs in it yet.
Foul. Things are way full.
And turn this frame around. This would be a tough frame for Williams to lose. It always is, of course, when the opponents needed a snooker. Still a lot of work for Ding to do, but he's back in the hunt.
Такий Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Oh, that's really well cued. Not an easy shot, and Williams will be relieved because that frame was just beginning to look as though it might get away from him. He's not really played yet this evening, so he'll be highly delighted to be level. 34 in front with only 27 left, so Ding now needs 2 snookers. Still fighting for all he's worth to get them. We've seen Williams do this before, play a shot out of a snooker one-handed. It's all his own technique, and he's missed it.
Foul. Mark Williams 7, Junhui 4.
So, still a tall ordered for Ding. He needs 3 snookers. Surely that is finally the end of this frame. So Mark Williams from 2-0 behind, having been completely outplayed to that point. 2 big breaks from Ding Junhui.
Mark Williams 2.
Has scrapped his way to parity. And this match is back in the balance. They both need 2 frames to go through to the quarterfinals of the British Open. So let's catch up on the other scores. We'll go over to table 3, where Ali Carter is playing Zhao Guodong. Zhao took the first 2 frames in this one. Carter hit back with a century in the third, but as you can see, frame 4 has just ended and it's gone to Zhao. So 3-1 to the former ranking finalist against the reigning German Masters champion Carter. One of the players of last season, winning a tournament, runner-up in another, and a semi-finalist in a third, but work to do to turn that around now at 3-1 down. The winner of that match will play either Tom Ford or Scott Donaldson in the quarterfinals tomorrow. In fact, I think Tom Ford has completed victory, confirmation of that shortly, but in the meantime, the other match ongoing this evening in this first half of the session. Hossein Vafai against Graham Dott. Vafai twice in front in that one. Dott has twice levelled up, but as you can see, Vafai in charge. In fact, think this is frame ball. He's 43 in front. Just one red
Третій
left.
дім
So
виграє перший з
it
фрейм з
should be
рахунком
3-2 to the
83-0
former
і
shootout
веде в цьому
champion
матчі з
against the
рахунком
former
1.
world champion, of course. The same for Fai, on the cusp of going 3-2 up on Graham Dott on table 2. I can tell you that Tom Ford did complete a 4-1 victory over Scott Donaldson, so he will play the winner of this match, and Ali Carter, as you can see, with work to do. 3-1 down now to Xiao Guodong, even though Carter made a century in the third frame, and that's a terrific long red to start the fifth. But he's got to win the remaining 3 to go through to play the man he beat in the German Masters final last season, Tom Ford of Leicester. Back here on table 1, Mark Williams has just left the arena for a moment. I think he'll be much the happier of the two. Ding Junhui raced into a 2-0 lead, a couple of big breaks, including his 620th career century. A 1-2-3 clearance for 2-0, but Williams has got it back to 2 each.
Thank you, frame 5. Ding Junhui to break.
It's Ding Junhui to break off in frame 5. This is now effectively a best-of-3 frame match for a place in the British Open quarterfinals, somewhere that Ding has never been before. Williams, of course, is twice a champion in this event. Beautiful cue, but unfortunately for Williams, couldn't quite hold the cue ball for the black.
Williams 1.
Can get sufficient swerve on the cue ball, but worse for Williams is the fact that he's lifting this red, I think, into the right corner pocket. It's catching the edge of the ground, but I'd be less bothered about the 4-point penalty, more about the damage he may have
Так і
done.
Дін виграє перший з фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з
Chance to get in
рахунком
in frame
1.
5. It's going to need the rest though, which makes it harder. Well played. Cued that very nicely. So just looking to restore his fluency after those two big breaks in the first couple of frames, 66 and then the 1-2-3 clearance. Had chances in frames 3 and 4, but Williams scrapped it out to level this match. Ding has looked the more fluent for sure so far tonight. Badness. We've seen a lot of blacks missed off their spot this week. Errors that you wouldn't normally see from these top professionals. This time he hit it too thin. He's been hitting a few too thick tonight. And that is a massive let-off for Williams, and the chance now falls to him. Carter on the cusp of a second century of the evening on table 3 against Xiao Guodong. He's going to be 3-2 behind.
$37. $38.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1. Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Williams' biggest break of the evening. And this is what he can do. He hasn't looked in particularly great form this evening, but he's found a way to win those two fairly scrappy frames. Ding having made all the breaks up until this frame. But of course he did miss the black off its spot when he was in early, and that has proved expensive. Whether it'll cost him the frame remains to be seen. But it's put him 48 behind. Williams just looking to buy himself a bit of security by pushing the green into a safer spot, which he's done. So advantage Williams in his bid to go one up with 2 to play. A little bit thick from Ding, that's why the cue ball hasn't travelled as far as he wanted. Table's a bit awkward for him in the way of a possible counter-attack in this frame. 3 reds close to the right side cushion doesn't help his cause in that regard. And Williams has slotted that red in, although you could see he was annoyed that he overcooked the cue ball a little, maybe got a lively bounce. It's a bit puzzled by it. By the way, the other match that was late going on because of a late finish earlier in this first half of the evening session here in Cheltenham is now underway. Ma Hailong, world amateur champion, against Fan Zhengyi, who of course won the European Masters as a 750 to 1 outsider when he stunned Ronnie O'Sullivan for that title a couple of seasons ago. They've just started their match. Table 4. So Ding in a lot of trouble here, 49 behind, only 59 left, and snookered behind the blue. To put him 50 in front with just 51 left. certainly turning the screw here. Mark Williams. Things getting harder and harder for Ding. Of course, he's got to hit the red here, otherwise he'll need a snooker. Good hit. It's still a long way back in this frame. The table is pretty messy from his point of view. Green and yellow, awkward.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Worth a go because had that gone in, Williams would have been 51 in front with only 43 left, so Ding would have needed 2 snookers just to tie. Feel more than a little frustrated, I think, because he made all the running in the first 2 frames. He was queuing beautifully, 2 big breaks, including that century clearance. The next 2 were a lot bittier, but they both went Williams' way. And although Williams has made a half-century in this frame, of course, that was the result of Ding missing the black off its spot early in the frame. And it's come back to bite him. Williams really turning the screw at the back end of this one, almost Mark Selby fashion. And of course Selby will be on this table later to take on Dave Gilbert.
Foul. Mark Williams foul.
So if Williams knocks this red in along the rail, it's surely over. The one snooker as things stand. In fact, he's not going to take any liberties at all here. Keep things tight. That's how much respect he's got for Ding. He's only beaten him 5 times in 14 attempts, remember, Williams, so looking to improve that record this evening.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Certainly didn't hold back there. Williams is 1 red away, surely, from clinching this frame, going 3-2 up. And then it goes. So Ding now needs 3 snookers to tie. I suspect he won't come back. He'll be reflecting on the miss black when he was in early in the frame. Just for a moment, I thought he was coming back, but he's decided against it. So, Mark Williams, having been 2-0 behind and having barely potted a ball at that stage, is now on the cusp of victory. The 2 times British Open champion going for a hat-trick this year, leading Junhui by 3 frames to 2. Let's go back to table 2, where Hossein Vafai is on the point of victory against Graham Dott. There it is, the handshake. Vafai started the match with a century and has gone on to close out a 4-2 victory. So he is through to the quarterfinals, and his reward is a meeting with either Barry Hawkins or He Guojiang. And will be in action in the second half of this evening session on table 3 frames tonight. And of course Tom Ford will play the winner of that match after his victory earlier against Scott Donaldson by 4 frames to 1. The other matches to be played this evening, Jack Lazowski, who's been in terrific form, played that brilliant match, for my money the match of the tournament so far, against Sean Murphy. Came up with a superb clearance from a long way behind in the decider, launched by a brilliant red. Knocked out Matt Selt earlier today, started that match with 2 century breaks. He's up against the 1999 British Open champion Fergal O'Brien. And of course our feature match here on table 1 at the conclusion of Dean Williams is Dave Gilbert against Mark Selby. Moments ago, Hossein Vafai closed out a 4-2 victory over the former world champion Graham Dott to move into the quarterfinals here in Cheltenham. And Mark Williams is a frame away from joining him, having won 3 in a row against Ding Junhui, who missed a black off its spot early in the 5th frame and paid a heavy price.
Так і Дін виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1. Very quickly though, Denny knew a bit too thin. That's why the cue balls raced in and out of baulk and almost down to where the blue is. Doesn't appear as though he's left anything though. Unless there's a red at the base of the bunch there that Williams can clip into the right corner. No, just a safety. So Williams in early in the frame he needs for victory. Again catching the red all wrong, way too thick started the match so well. First 2 frames he looked great, and he has had chances since then. In all 3 frames he's lost. Most notably the previous one when he was well positioned and missed the black.
Six. Seven.
I recall when Williams won this title for the second time when the event was relaunched after 15 years off the calendar in 2021. He didn't play that well by his own admission for most of the week, actually. He's found a way to get through the rounds without producing anything like his best. And then in the final, he did play well in beating Gary Wilson 6-4 for the 24th and most recent ranking event title of his career. So there's something about this British Open that seems to agree with him. Of course, he won it back in 1997 against Stephen Hendry in Plymouth. And he complete a hat-trick this week.
Так і Дім виграє перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
Has taken the opening frame against Fan Zhengyi on table 4. And this is clearly an opportunity now for Williams to close this match out. Set for a finish with a flourish here. He's outplayed in the first 2 frames. Fought his way to winning frames 3 and 4 without really producing anything particularly remarkable, and then a half century helping him to win the 5th. After Den's error on the black off its spot. Now getting close to the winning line in this 6th frame. 61 in front.
Так і
83
Дім
left,
виграє
so
перший фрейм з рахунком 83-0 і веде в цьому матчі з рахунком 1.
match ball.
70.
Acknowledged by the crowd, and a very satisfying win was for Mark Williams because he was very much second best early in the match. Used his typical snooker acumen to
76.
find a way over the line in the next couple of frames. And he's picked his game up since then. And Ding will be left to rue 1 or 2 errors. Having made such a good start with that break of 66 in the first frame, the 123 clearance in the second, but Ding hasn't been able to build on that. And Williams has made him pay. Can he now finish with a century of his own? It's only a handful behind Ding. 602. This will be his 14th of the season. Made 32 last season. And you need another red. Oh, he's missed the red, and he's annoyed at that. But he'll be happy enough with the victory, that's for sure. From 2-0 behind, Ding was queuing so well, but Williams has turned it around in fine fashion, finishing with that 99 break, just missing out on the century, but through to the quarterfinals of the British Open. The 2 times winner of this event defeats Junhui 4 frames to 2.